You know that feeling? That strange but super pleasant sensation that millions of us have felt, but for the longest time we just didn't have a word for it. It's kind of like a gentle electric tingle that just washes over you. Well, today we're going to gently pull back the curtain on this amazing feeling. Just think about it for a sec. Have you ever been listening to someone whisper or maybe watching someone paint really carefully and all of a sudden you feel this warm, static-like sensation start on your scalp and just spread? If you're nodding your head right now, you're definitely not alone. So here's our game plan. First up, we're going to figure out what these tingles actually are. Then we'll dive into the top things that trigger them. After that, we'll look at why millions of people are so into this, uncover some really surprising health benefits, and finally, we'll peek at the science trying to make sense of it all. Okay, so let's get official. This feeling has a proper name, and it's not just the tingles. Knowing what it's actually called is the first step to really understanding what's going on here. The official term is Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response, or as pretty much everyone calls it, ASMR. Now that sounds super sciencey, so let's break it down. Autonomous just means it happens on its own. You can't force it. Sensory means it's tied to your senses, right? Hearing, sight. And meridian response, well, that's just a fancy way of saying that peak, shivery, tingly feeling. So, put it all together, it's a pleasant brain tingle that you get from certain sounds or sights. And you know what's wild? This tingle actually follows a pretty consistent path for most people. A 2015 study in the journal PeerJ, which is our guide for today, found that for a lot of folks, it kicks off right at the back of the head. From there, it often travels down the spine, and if it's a really good one, it can spread out to your shoulders, arms, and even down to your legs. So if that's what it is, the next obvious question is, what causes it? What are these specific sights and sounds that trigger this totally unique response? Well, the research points to a few usual suspects. And the biggest triggers are, well, they're fascinatingly specific. A whopping 75% of people say whispering is a major trigger for them. Coming in a close second is the feeling of getting personal attention. You know, like when a doctor is examining you gently or a hairdresser is focused just on you. And right behind that, crisp sounds, things like tapping, crinkling, or page turning. It really seems to be about these soft, focused, gentle stimuli. But here's the thing. The trigger by itself isn't always enough. The setting is absolutely key. The huge majority of people, we're talking 81%, look for ASMR right before they go to sleep. It really needs a quiet, calm space to do its magic. And a little pro tip, a good pair of binaural headphones can be a game changer, making it feel like the sounds are happening right there in the room with you. And this leads us to the real why. People aren't just watching these videos because they're curious. There are some powerful reasons drawing millions of people to this stuff, and almost all of them are about feeling better. So why do people actively seek this out? Well, the numbers are pretty clear. An absolutely massive 98% of people said they use ASMR to relax. On top of that, 82% use it to help them fall asleep, and 70% use it specifically to cope with stress. Now, you do see a tiny slice, just 5%, who mention sexual stimulation, but let's be real, the main story here is that ASMR is overwhelmingly a tool for finding some peace and quiet in a very noisy world. Statistics can feel a little cold, but a story from a real person, that hits different. This quote is from someone in the study who was dealing with anxiety, and it just perfectly captures the feeling. It's more than just a distraction. For some people, it's this incredibly deep state of peace, like a trance they just don't want to leave. And it actually gets even more interesting. Beyond just general relaxation, the research found some seriously surprising benefits. It looks like ASMR might provide real, temporary relief for some pretty major health conditions. Now this is one of the most powerful findings from the study. For people who live with depression, ASMR was shown to give them a measurable temporary lift in their mood and a break from their symptoms. It suggests there could be some real therapeutic potential here. And the effect was pretty dramatic. Imagine a mood scale from 1 to 100. Participants with depression said their mood jumped by almost 39 points after an ASMR session. For those without depression, there was still a nice boost of over 21 points. So while it helps a lot of people feel good, it seems to have an especially powerful effect on those who might need it the most. And the benefits aren't just in your head. For 38 people in the study who were dealing with chronic pain, ASMR actually gave them significant relief from their discomfort. And the most incredible part, that feeling of relief lasted for up to 3 hours after they stopped watching or listening. 3 hours!
Okay, so this all sounds amazing, right? But it brings us to the biggest question of all. How in the world does it work? What is actually happening inside our brains? The science is still really new, but the study pointed to some pretty cool possible explanations.
So there are three main theories floating around. The first is something called a flow state, that feeling of being completely in the zone. The second is a possible link to synesthesia, which is a really cool condition where your senses get cross-wired, like being able to hear a color. And the third idea is that maybe ASMR is just a new form of mindfulness meditation for the digital age. Let's dig into that synesthesia idea for a second. In the general population, it's estimated that maybe 4.4% of people have it. But among the ASMR folks in the study, that number was 5.9%. Now, that might not sound like a giant leap, but to researchers, a bump like that is a really interesting clue. It suggests there might be a real connection there worth looking into. And of course, we've got to give credit where it's due. Everything we've talked about today comes from that really important 2015 study by Barat and Davis, published in PeerJ. It was one of the very first times the academic world took a serious, rigorous look at this incredible experience. So, we'll end with a little something to think about. Is this whole tingling thing just a weird, harmless quirk in our brain's wiring? Or, in our crazy, stressful modern world, have millions of us stumbled upon a new kind of digital mindfulness, a way to find just a few moments of genuine calm? The science is just getting started, and honestly, I can't wait to see what they find next.